Today I'm going to tell you about the best upgrade you can make for $40 to your A7R II or any of the Sony cameras in their lineup. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Malcolm and I'm a hobbyist photographer. Real quick today, I want to tell you about adding an extension grip to your A7 camera. This is probably the best and easiest $40 upgrade you can make to a Sony camera. The issue with Sony cameras is because the Sony cameras are so small, it doesn't leave a lot of room to actually hold them with. I have rather large hands that I can completely cover up the body. The issue is it completely misses my little finger, my pinky finger there. Best thing you can do is pick up one of these. It's grip extension. Now, Sony actually offers one of these for about $150, and I don't think it's worth it one bit. This Mikey MK-X1EM has a lot more to offer for a lot less money. This particular grip has two locator pins, a quarter 120 threaded attachment to screw onto the camera, and is shaped to perfectly fit the A7 Mark II bodies, as well as the A7 III and A7R III, along with the A9. This grip also includes an Arca Swiss attachment plate and an additional quarter 120 attachment hole, so you can still put it on a regular tripod plate if you like. Now, mounting to the camera is fairly simple. The camera bodies actually have a little locator pin here in the bottom. On this A7R II here, this pin will line up and attach right onto there. Now, using like a coin, we can just thread this onto the mount to the camera. The locator pin in the front will sit in that hole and line it up. Once it's attached to the camera, it extends the grip, as you can see here. What this does is give you somewhere to hold the camera more with your little finger. And in addition to that, not only be able to hold it to the front, it gives you more leverage back here. Now, myself personally, I found that one of the biggest benefits to this grip isn't so much that I have somewhere to put this finger, is that it allows me to hold the camera steadier with a heavier lens. So if I put that 100 or 400 on here, that lens is pushing down on the front of the camera like this, and that's allowing the camera to push back into my palm and giving me a much better grip and support for the camera overall. It has less fatigue on my hand. My hands, I have bad carpal tunnel. They go numb very easily. After holding the camera for no more than 5 minutes and manipulating the buttons, my fingers start to go numb, start having issues like that. Having this grip does help reduce that because I can allow a lot more of the weight of the camera to fall into my palm of my hand. With this attached to the camera, you now have a built-in Arca Swiss plate. If your tripods use that mount, as well as you can mount a regular quarter 20 attachment to the end. So if you still wanted to use, say, a vlogging handle or something, it will fit still underneath the camera, as well as just in the bag. It doesn't take up any additional room when I lay it into my bag. It fits. Now, there are a few major downsides to this particular grip. The first one is once it's attached to the camera, especially if you're using a Mark II body, your battery door is completely covered up. The only way to access it would be to loosen this screw, and I have it very tight. Oh, while I'm there, on the A7R II, it actually has a small amount of little play in it. Barely noticeable, but it's there. And it can be a little bothersome for that. Overall, once it's in your hand, you don't really notice it. It's not been an issue for me. Back to the battery door. Let's unscrew this. So always keep a little pocket screwdriver or something in your pocket. Loosen it up enough, allows you access into the battery compartment. That's been the biggest flaw to this whole system for me. But even the Sony grip doesn't solve this problem. It doesn't have an additional threaded point, and it doesn't have the built-in Arca Swiss plate. So when they're asking a premium of $150 for that grip, I don't see a value in it when this Mikey grip has a similar texture, nice full finish around, and it works just fine. There are other grips on the market that do the same thing. Now, another one of my complaints about this particular grip is I almost wish it continued it flat all the way across. It's not really space you're saving anywhere in your bag. If you have to accommodate this, you have to be able to still have room to accommodate this area. And I wish it, at least this bottom plate on this one, at least traveled out to the end of the camera, just to help protect that last corner. If it just went out just a little bit, wrapped around a little bit to give it a little bit of protection, I think that would have been a really nice little addition to this grip. At least this part's protected, but this corner is still exposed and vulnerable to a drop or a ding, and when you set it down, it makes it sit crooked. So I wish it kind of just had a flat base and went all the way across. If I were to buy a different one, probably wouldn't care so much about the grip pattern on the side of it as I would it just being a flat plate all the way across. In addition to that, an additional opening for a battery door would be an excellent choice. This grip fits both the A7R2, the A7 II, the A7S II, so all the Mark II generation. It'll also fit the A9, the A7 III, A7R3. So I have an A7 III here. We're going to mount it up real quick just so you can see it. The A7 III has a locator pinhole right here on the front, and this first pin drops into it. There, it locked into that pinhole. The pins are spring tensioned on it. This is a nice build quality. Once it's locked onto the A7 III, I have none of that movement I mentioned that I have on my A7R2. It also just increases the grip beefiness quite a bit. So the grip's a lot bigger on the A7 IIIs compared to the R2 as far as the width here. As you can see, it still fits fairly nicely. They've tucked it in just a little bit on the bottom and on the front, but it's not enough to really make a difference to your hand because, like I said, you're operating it independently to your finger here. So you don't really notice anything. Everything's nice and smooth. There's no harsh edge or anything like that with the A7 III. The same benefits apply. Heavier lens up front, you get more grip and support going into the palm of your hand, freeing up your fingers and the tension on them from holding the camera a little bit more. So overall, this particular grip, I think at the time of filming this grip hasn't, I can't show it as available anymore, but it's not so much about this particular Nike grip as it is just finding a grip that works well for you. I think it's one of the best improvements you can make for hand holding any of the Sony mirrorless cameras, is to get this grip extension. So there you go, guys, a very quick video today about just extending your grip on your camera, and I think it's one of the best improvements you can make to an A7 series camera, especially if you have large hands like myself. Really helps hold and cradle the camera, so I definitely recommend you at least pick one up and throw it in your bag for the days you're going to be carrying around or walking around a lot with it. It's definitely worth having. Now, you can also solve this problem with a dual battery grip. I have dual battery grips for both of these cameras, and I'll be talking about those in another video, but for right now, the grip extender, you can see, is highly recommended, and I definitely would pick one up for the price. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you later.